Today's More and Conley Football Show is brought to you by the NFL's official European store. The NFL's official European store offers 100% official products, free standard delivery, next day delivery, and you can get jerseys, clothing, headwear, 2 t-shirts for £35. I got those. They actually weren't bad. The NFL shop in Europe, I tell you, it's not the widest selection of products, but they do get good deals when you can come and get them. So I'd say, find your team. They do these helmet ones now. It's like the helmet stripping. It's pretty cool. I bought a Patriots one. 2 t-shirts for 35 quid. You can also get some accessories, and they have non-stop sales. Go to thereadoptional.com/NFL shop. You'll get 15% off your first order. That's thereadoptional.com/NFL shop for the official NFL European store.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Moore and Conley Football Show. So glad you could join us once again for Super Bowl Preview Part 2. Oh, it's all going off right here, right now. That's what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. The big game this weekend. And I am Tom Moore, your humble host. And joining me, as always, to break down that big game in even more detail, it's my good friend Ollie Conley. Ollie, how you diddling?
I'm doing well. Big show, no big name guests. We don't need to do the whole, hey, let's go to Radio Row and bring on Joe Montana and Jerry Rice on every single radio appearance saying the exact same thing, shilling stuff. We can just be us two and talk about football.
Yeah, that does annoy me about the whole Super Bowl thing, because when they have NFL.com or whatever it is, or whatever network you're on, and they've got their little stand or, their little studio set up at the Super Bowl, then they bring people in and they're all just chilling products.
Mm-hmm. So we have Ralph Sindrich out there. It costs $6,000 for a base table, and they provide 2 chairs. They don't even provide a SCART lead or any of those type of things. It's an insane thing that they do. And like you said, they just have these radio stations, the Fan, like the 900 editions of the Fan, these crappy radio stations with hack DJs, and they just wheel them through and they walk down the line all day and they just sell their products for 10 minutes, telling the same boring stories.
And it's just the same approach. And what really annoys me is, I know that the hosts probably don't genuinely think this, but they all say the same thing. And sometimes I see the pain in their face, but there's some hosts that love it. And they go, oh yeah, and you're here to talk to us about blank. And then they talk to them about blank. And all the players they never really have an insight. Some of them do, to be fair, but it's generally just, I'm here to talk to you about the great work that Geico are doing, or I'm here to tell you about the great work that the Binocular Association of Canada are doing. And it's just kind of like, I really don't care. And also, what you've just said about the game itself was not insightful in any way. So why the smeg are you even on the telly?
How is it so good radio? How is it good radio? How do they don't get ratings? That's why. Crappy talk radio doesn't get any ratings. That's why podcasts exist.
Damn right. We are the talk radio of the future.
No doubt.
For some reason, I wanted to start singing the great Pet Shop Boys hit, Go West.
We can play it.
Oh, yeah, if you want to. But if you could locate that and then play that as we go into the news.
Let's do it.
Go West. Here we go. So on to the news first, and then obviously we'll get into the game itself and talk about the offenses and the defenses and our predictions for the game. And we'll, of course, finish up with listeners' questions and the iTunes reviews that we've managed to find as well. You can find us at ThomasMoore27 on Twitter, at Ollie with an IUKZ. Use the hashtag MCFS. So on to the news, as I just said. First of all, Ollie, the NFL, they buried, some might say destroyed, the PSI evidence. Tell me about this.
Yeah, there could be some hyperbolic language involved there. Essentially, Roger Goodell comes out with his good pal Rich Eisen, answering every question by beginning with his first name Rich, because they're good friends and it's another sham of a show. Answering a question about, will they release the PSI data they've been collecting this year? If you remember, Tom, they said this year they're going to collect a bunch of PSI data to kind of look into this whole Deflategate thing that they lied about and created, and that all these smart, intelligent scientists said was a joke because Ideal Gas Law explains it. They collect this data. They release a press release saying that officials will mark down the data, they'll remove footballs, in the second half they'll have replacement footballs so they can keep the data and the balls together to conduct this study. Now Goodell says that's not what happened, which is a lie, because he was asked many times during the season about this data, and he said, we're not sure if we'll make it public or not. So finally, he goes on the Rich Eisen show. Rich Eisen asked him, are you going to make the data public? He says, we don't have any data. We were just doing spot checks. The data doesn't exist. We never recorded it.
I have no idea what's going on anymore.
It's what happened is they collected data hoping they could go to court to nail Tom Brady for cheating. They didn't like the data they got, so they stashed the data away. That's
exactly, you said about Rich Eisen as well. I know we've already had a go at people shilling, obviously, during Super Bowl week, but he's another guy that I like to have a go at.
No,
he was so good, Ollie, and I'm so disappointed in what he's become.
I agree. I liked him when he was doing Sports Center. I don't know. I don't want to just hammer the guy. I shouldn't have said the thing I originally said about him. He's not a hack. It's just, he's friends with those people. So he is friends with Roger Goodell, but I always hate when they do the buddy thing on radio anyway. But I guess they are friends. Like, he works for the guy, so.
I just had a stunning realization.
Well,
Roger Goodell, if you exchanged haircuts between him and Donald Trump, they actually look quite similar.
Both maniacal, egotistical, yeah.
Exactly. Interchangeable parts, i.e. the faces of them. But there you go. Okay, second news story, Ollie, and then we'll get on to the game. Raiders and the Texans, they're going to play a regular season game in Mexico this year. What's going on there?
Part again of Roger Goodell's global domination plot. Wants to take games to Germany, keep the games in London, split games in London between Tottenham, Twickenham and Wembley. Over the coming years, possibly go to the City Manchester Stadium, or the Etihad as they call it now. Go to Canada, go to Mexico, and I think they want to have, similar to, if you remember the Premier League's plan where they wanted to add an extra game and have a weekend where they just played games all around the world.
The Scudamore plan.
The Scudamore plan, which was laughed out the building, which would have been very good for everyone, and it was silly. They weren't taking games for anyone. And if you play it over a winter break, it would have been great for everyone involved. I think they want to have a similar, there's nothing at all wrong with that plan. If you don't want to take the game out of England, that's the only thing you have to complain. Other than that, none of the people playing in the game and managing are English anyway. I think the NFL wants to do the same thing.
No, I would say about the tricky thing with the Premier League is you have to take a home and an away game out because it's kind of unfair, isn't it, on one team? That they get
they were adding a game. They were adding a game is what they were doing.
Who the hell would you play?
They play, you probably draw it like a cup. First of all, you do away the League Cup and then you add a game. Add 2 games if you want. I don't care. We don't have to talk about it.
The League Cup really should be in soccer as well. That should just be below the Premier League. Shouldn't include the Premier League.
I mean, yeah, they have that, the Johnson's Paint Trophy.
Oh, yeah, of course, the JPT. Mm-hmm. That absolute Goliath of trophies. When it was called, it used to be called the Milk Cup and stuff. Sorry, I'm digressing, but apparently there was a binding agreement with all football clubs when the Johnson Paint Trophy became into existence that they would not publicly take the mick out of the fact that it was called the Johnson's Paint Trophy.
Interesting.
There you go. Shall we get on to the game?
Please.
Oh, let's segregate this. Play a tune. It's my use of the word segregate.
Always totally inappropriate.
I feel like he's right on the edge, of what is socially acceptable on a podcast. Anyway, let's get to it, Ollie. And what we're going to do in this session now, obviously we had our Super Bowl preview part 1. If you missed that, you can pick it up on our feed, obviously, earlier in the week. Go also check out thereadoptional.com. Great stuff there, including all of our previous podcasts. But we're going to break down the offenses, the defenses, and how they weigh up against each other. So when Denver have the ball and when Carolina have the ball. And then we'll also think about, okay, what's our ultimate prediction? What are we going for in this game? I know that's what you all want to hear. And that's what we're going to do in this segment of the show right now. So, Ollie, would you rather start with Carolina on the ball or Denver on the ball?
I think the more interesting thing is what happens when Carolina has the ball and you have not just the physical specimen, but the brain and the talents of Cam Newton up against the brain of Wade Phillips, essentially.
Yeah, son of bum. I mean, it's going to be a great thing to see, and I'm really excited to see how this Denver defense plays, because I tell you what, Ollie, for the first time in quite a while, I'm probably actually pretty neutral on who I want to win this game. I know you are all Carolina, aren't you?
Not all Carolina. I'm kind of ambivalent to it. I like John Elway. I like Gary Kubiak. I'd like to see Manning ride off into the sunset. I do enjoy those storylines when they happen, even though I poke fun. So yeah, but I love Cam so much that if I had to lean one way, it would be Carolina.
Yeah, I would expect as much. Anyway, so let's think about this scenario then. We've got the Carolina offense. We're looking at the 9th best offense in the NFL. And the Denver defense, obviously, top defense in the NFL. Is there anything about the statistics that we can draw initial kind of conclusions about how this might go when Carolina have the ball?
Well, the key thing for Denver defensively is they want to try and unleash those pass rushes. We saw what they did against Tom Brady and the Patriots when they were able to get Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware flying off the edge, and they're able to get into their sub package with Malik Jackson and with Derek Wolfe as well. Now, can you do that with a team that can actually run the ball? You can't just tee off on the snap count. If a team is able to run the ball, then you're getting too high up in your rushing lanes, and then now Jonathan Stewart, or whichever running back it is, has creases to cut the ball upfield. So you have to be more disciplined if a team is rushing the ball well. So can Denver shut down the run to allow themselves to get into that sub package and chase the quarterback in the passing game? Denver does stop the ball pretty well in the run game, so we have that, the third against the run in DVOA. That's important. So if they can shut down the run game, now stopping Carolina's run game is going to be almost impossible. No one has been able to do that this season. It's just so complex and they do so many different things. But that's what they have to try and do, is build from that base of stopping the run to then release the pass rushes. It won't be like against New England when they were dropping back 40 times and they could just unleash Von Miller.
Let's use that as a jumping off point then as well, because that's really interesting, because this isn't an offense that's got a running back in terms of, say, an Adrian Peterson or a Sean Alexander when he was at his powers, or a Barry Sanders, or whatever you want to say. You know, not that one kind of marquee guy, because the marquee guy is Cam Newton with his legs. So the question that I have for you, Ollie, and I think the question a lot of people are going to be saying, yes, this Denver defense is first in the NFL, okay? But how do you stop a running game that is powerful, but not necessarily centered around the running back? I.e., how do you stop Cam?
That's why it's impossible, because he is impossible to stop. And that may sound silly and it may sound like we don't have any answers, but there's a reason why they're playing in this game. And there's a reason why they have the number one ranked rush offense in the league, because he is so tough to stop. And it's not just finding a way to contain him. If that was the goal, then maybe you could find a way to do it, and teams have done that in previous years against them. It's everything they do off of it. It's the fact that he can read the defense in the read option game, that he can read the defense then for the run pass option game, and that you have Mike Tolbert at fullback, you have Jonathan Stewart a good running back, and then you can window dress some stuff by having the jet sweeps with Ted Ginn. They do so many different things, and even off that, he's calling the plays himself, so he gets to decide the line of scrimmage, what he sees and what he wants to do. It's just so complex. They run so many different concepts, they run so many different things, and then him just as a specimen one-on-one, who can stop the guy? That's what makes it so difficult, is the amount of stuff they do, the variety, and the one-on-one plays they have, the best fullback, the best quarterback. It's so tough to stop.
Yeah, I'm going to put you on the test right now, Ollie, because, you know, you have just listed quite concisely and very clearly, these are the problems that you have with stopping the Panthers offense. You've got those triple option concepts, you've got the run pass option, you know, the read option, all of those great power players involved with that. You are son of bum, okay? Get yourself in that mindset. Get yourself the jowls and a bit of the flabby jaw and strange hand actions. Now, what would you do and what personnel would you use in what kind of scenario if you were going to try and stop Cam? I know you said it's impossible, but how would you look at least containing that offense?
Well, the way to do it is to just own the line of scrimmage and to get penetration, I believe. Now, how you do that, you can do that in multiple ways. The best way is to win one-on-one, and that's where you got to find the best place for Von Miller to play. And he's going to be the guy who dictates this thing, as is Derek Wolfe, as is Sylvester Williams, and as is Malik Jackson. You have to win one-on-one. And it's really tough to do against this Carolina team. Now, defending the read option, that is just a choose your poison thing. People talk about defending it by hitting the mesh point, which is the part of which the quarterback is holding the ball to decide whether to hand it off or keep it. Just flatten the quarterback is what some people say. That doesn't really do much. Now you're taking a guy out of your scheme, and if you stand back and you're trying to force Cam to hand the ball off, again, you're -1 in the run game. Again, it's 11 versus 10. And it's picking your poison. So I don't really know how to defend that, because that is in itself indefensible. And teams have simply moved away from it because their guys got hurt. Whereas with Cam, he's 245 and he just doesn't seem to get hurt. So in all honesty, the best way to stop it is just to crowd the line of scrimmage, to hope and pray in the pass game. That's going to be tough. And win one-on-one. Can you control the point of attack? Can our front four beat their offensive line? I think on the outside, it's pretty clear that Remers and Orr are not as good as Ware and Von Miller. It's the interior which is going to be the key. Both Malik Jackson and Derek Wolfe are star players, and the interior with Norwell and Turner and Khalil are star players for the Panthers as well.
Let's move on to talking about the passing game now as well, but kind of as a segue to that, Ollie, with the obviously the danger that Cam Newton presents, do you know, I know we talk about the pressure, and that's what Denver are so good at on that defensive front, and obviously outside there with the likes of Von Miller. But do you have somebody in the linebacking core that kind of sits back slightly, spies Cam Newton, so to speak, tries to, you know, a bit of an extra safety blanket? Do you approach it in that way?
Well, that depends. If you're going to play someone, this happened last year with Seattle when New England played them. You can either have a spy or you can have a robber. The robber is the safety drops down and he reads the quarterback. And then the spy is where you take a linebacker, sometimes a defensive lineman, and he's going to read the quarterback, and they literally just follow and mimic the actions of the quarterback. If he goes left, they follow him left. You can do that, but once again, that takes someone out of the offense. And if that takes someone out of your defense. And if the offense realizes they're being spied, now we can start game plan where that guy isn't even affecting the play. He's just watching the quarterback, and we can just act as if he's not there. And if Wilson or Newton, as it is going to be this year, realizes that, he just won't take off. So it takes guy out of your defense. And then if you add to that the read option game, now we're taking two guys out of the defense. Now we've got 11 versus 9, and that's only going to end one way. So I don't know how you do it. And a third point on, if you spy or robber, then you're going to have to play with a single high safety. Unless you, like I said, again, spy, and then we got 2 deep and we win in the box. So it's such a tough thing to come up with, and it's such a tough way to stop, which is why, again, they're here at the dance. I don't know what you do. I would probably gamble with a single high safety and say I think Talib and Harris can shut down Ted Ginn and Corey Brown, and it's going to be tough. Cam can make all the throws downfield, so I really don't know how to answer the question. I'm fascinated to see what Wade Phillips comes up with.
And that's a good point as well, because I think we're both agreed on the fact that in terms of matchup one-on-one on the outside, the Denver Broncos cornerbacks have the edge. Going back to because I don't think we need to linger on that for too long. I think that's just pretty clear. Going back to what we were talking about in terms of spying and putting a robber there, though, Ollie, if you go to the other side of things, though, I mean, you've got some pretty blown out of the water stats about how Newton is against the blitz.
Yeah, he's just been shredding everyone all season. I mean, he's been a 62% passer against the blitz this year, 21 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and since week 10 of the season, he hasn't thrown a single pick when he's faced the blitz. So that's to me is a great example of the processing of the game. Cam playing from the neck up. That's about finding the hot read and delivering the ball and getting it out quickly. And once again, they run a check with me offense. It's very hybrid and complex. They have a bunch of the college stuff that Cam ran at Auburn, but they also have a number of the pro style things that Mike Schuler, his dad, Don Schuler, gave to Mike. So it's from the old Miami days. It's got some air raid elements, and it's got this hybrid spread option attack as well, which is why they just say to Cam, hey, go up there, read the coverage, read the defense, run whatever you want to run. And it's worked out remarkably. He can shred you with his arms, with his legs, with the blitz when you're in soft coverage. This is why it's such a tough question.
So to bring this all together, Ollie, if you've got the master plan, because we all know the talent that Carolina has on that offensive side of the ball and how they can just overpower you, your quick summary, bullet point, battle strategy for Wade Phillips, how's he going to stop Newton?
I don't think he's going to. And now, how do you do it? I think the way he's going to try and do this is, first of all, you take away Greg Olsen. We just pencil that in. That's going to be the guy with double. If we're going to take a guy out of the defense, let's not do it by spying. Let's not do it by playing some robber concepts. You mix some of that stuff in. But again, you're just taking a guy out and he doesn't need to run. The offense is not built around him running down the field. It's the threat. It's that kind of stuff. So we're not taking a guy out of the defense that way. If we're going to take a guy out, let's double Greg Olsen, take away the target he wants to find. Let's try and confuse him by running some more zone coverages, by running some pattern match stuff. We spoke about that in the past, where you read the wide receiver of whether you're going to play zone or play man. That can confuse the quarterback as he sees the receiver break and he thinks it's zone, then all of a sudden it's man. And then try and do some disguise stuff. They did it a bunch against Tom Brady and they caught him. The play that Von Miller got picked off Tom Brady, they showed double A gap pressure with a safety. They all bailed out of there. They only rushed 2 players, and Brady thought he had a wide open throw and threw it directly to Von Miller, who was bailing out of the pressure. So that's the kind of things you can do. I think Cam Newton is far smarter than people give him credit for in terms of processing the game because of the John Gruden stuff that happened pre-draft, because of some of the pre-draft evaluations. And I think he's going to process it pretty easily, and I think he's going to shred them.
Okay, there you go. How about that? Okay, let's move on to the other side of the equation, Ollie, which is when Denver have the ball, and it's the old sheriff, Peyton Manning's there saying, Omaha, my hip's falling out. And
great plant of a story, by the way.
What?
Just a couple of days before the Super Bowl, hey, doctors told me I need to get a hip operation in a couple of years. Just if you want to mention that in the commentary when I'm playing terribly and throwing ducks, that'd be nice, guys.
Exactly, would absolutely love it. Okay, so with Peyton, we're talking about Peyton. We're talking about a passing offense is 25th in the league. Rushing offense is 19th in the league. Nothing to write home about. And the Carolina defense, I know we go on about the Denver Broncos, but this is the 2nd best passing defense, the 6th best rush defense. I mean, what do you do if you're Peyton Manning, and how much do really you have left? It's probably going to be his last game. That's what most people are thinking. He's got to put it in. What's he got? What has he got to give, Ollie?
Well, what he has is, and I know this has been kind of mocked now, but he still is the same player pre-snap, and that he's going to get you into the most favourable look possible. And if you start looking through the personnel of the Broncos, it's nothing to write home about. As you'd say, Tom, the offensive line is not good. Their best offensive line is Evan Mathis, who is still struggling with an injury he sustained at the very start of the season, and he struggled with injuries all season. So the offensive lines are great. The running backs are decent, but that is of the system and the offensive line. They are wholly reliant with the system they run on the offensive line. That hasn't been good this year. The tight end position is not good at all. And then you got these wide receivers who obviously need the quarterback to play well, and Peyton's not a good player anymore. So he is very limited. He still has the same stuff pre-snap. He has the same kind of movement skills within the pocket. He can shift around and create some throwing lanes, but he just doesn't have any zip on the ball. And it's not even just the difficult throws. I've heard a lot this week about how he can't throw to from the near hash to the far side of the field. Of course he can't. There's not many players who can make that throw. He can't make basic throws to the second level anymore, which shows you these numbers are insane with no pressure. This is Peyton Manning. No one's pressuring him. A 59% passer, 8 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. That means that he either can't process the defense, and this is Peyton Manning, so he can process anything you ever throw at him, or he's releasing the ball when he thinks he should be throwing it, and the ball isn't coming out quick enough so people are making plays on the ball. And that's the worrying thing. And this is a Carolina team, as you mentioned, Tom. Look at what they do in the passing game. Second-ranked defense. They've got Josh Norman and Luke Kuechly. Good luck with this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Manning's got some weapons, though, which Cam Newton doesn't have. So that's got to count for something.
Two, but they are reliant on him rather than the other way around. Like, he has Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, but they're not weapons if he can't get them the ball. It's not like he has Adrian Peterson and a mauling offensive line. If he had Marshawn Lynch, then that would be a big help. I don't know how much of a weapon they can be if they're playing on the outside of the numbers where he can't throw the ball there anymore.
Yeah, I know. It's not a good look, but the last thing I'm going to say about Peyton Manning here as well is that this is his last game. This is kind of one of those all-on-the-line situations. Do you think that maybe, even if he dislocated his arm, he'd still be gunning it down the field? Is he going to come up with some kind of superhuman effort because it's his last game? How much does that factor into it, Ollie? He's had 18 years in the NFL. It's the emotion of it and what it means to him and what it could mean to go out on top with his second Super Bowl. That's got to count for something.
I don't think it does, though. I love you, but I think it's nonsense. It's so it doesn't count to anyone else on the field? They've all worked their entire life for this moment. He already has a Super Bowl ring. It's his legacy is set. People talk about, well, what will this do if he wins another Super Bowl? He's still going to be behind Montana. He's still going to be behind Brady. And that's he's going to be in that next level where you start discussing all kinds of different people. That's just what he's going to be. How can you overcome neck surgery just because you want to win a Super Bowl title? It doesn't happen. Could he play well? Of course he could. He played well against the Patriots well enough, right? It's one game. He could do stuff. He is the best at reading defenses. Maybe he sees something pre-snap. Maybe he's seen something in the film room that he can take advantage of. That's all possible, but it has nothing to do with his want to play and win the game. Everyone on that field wants to play and win.
Yeah, and I also think as well what you just said with regards to the Patriots. I mean, he did play well against the Patriots, but that was one game. He's going to have to do the same thing again, which is quite difficult. And he's also going to have to do it against a much better defense. That's the problem. And talking of that, Ollie, Kawan Short, how are the Broncos going to handle him?
This is such a key for them. If they can find a way to play him one-on-one, that is an incredible advantage for their offense. Now, everyone has to double him because he's an incredible disruptor. But if they can get Evan Mathis, who's their best run blocker, to play one-on-one with him, that's a game changer for them. If they have to double him, which is likely with Matt Paradise, it's going to become an issue because that makes everyone free one-on-one. Now, do they have great edge rushers? No, they got Jared Allen and he's struggling to play. But it allows guys like Thomas Davis, like Shaq Thompson, like Luke Kuechly to drop down and shoot gaps and make plays in the backfield, to bring the corner blitzers that have been such a problem for Peyton Manning this year. They have to find a way to contain K1 Short and give Peyton Manning some sort of time.
Okay. I'm interested as well about the other players on this Panthers defense and how they could impact Peyton Manning and, of course, the Broncos in general. I mean, you look at their linebacking core, Ollie. I mean, that is, out of this world good. And then that front four as well. I mean, I just think that it really, on paper, it does not bode well for Manning and the Broncos in any way. And as much as they have this great defense and they could do things on that side of the ball, part of me thinks they're just not going to be able to move the ball on offense.
It's certainly possible. Everything's in play. It's a one-off game, so anything can happen. But if you start ticking the boxes and you just do it on paper, then it's clear that the Panthers should win this game running away. But they have to play this thing. What I think is fascinating when you look at Norman and Kuechly and K1 Shaw and all the pieces we've mentioned, how great this team could be viewed if they win this game in a similar style, somewhat to how Denver lost to Seattle. This is going to become an all-time great team, and we haven't realized it in the moment. The metrics for them are outstanding. We just read the offensive and defensive ones. The individual players, you've got a great quarterback, a great cornerback, a great linebacker, great front four, very good coach. Everything is here for them, and they won 15 games in the regular season. This is going to become, if they win it, an all-time great team, and I don't think we kind of realized it as it was happening.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Ollie, on this side of the ball then, again, it seems to be we're asking the questions here of the Broncos, and there's a reason why that's happening, listeners. Obviously, on the offensive side of the ball for the Panthers and the defensive side of the ball for the Broncos, our ultimate question was, at the end of it, weighing up things, okay, what do the Broncos do to handle this offense? But it's the reverse here, Ollie. It's if you're Denver, if you're Gary Kubiak, what do you do to get this Denver offense rolling and get some points on the board?
They need broken, uncharted plays. Plays like when Peyton Manning took a slide and they didn't blow the whistle and he got a completion. Plays like Jamie Collins, who just went off the field, rushing back on, not realizing his coverage, then blowing one, and Owen Daniels getting his touchdown. They need, like, Emmanuel Sanders to just take one to the house. You know, from the 20-yard line, we throw a bubble screen, there's a miscommunication, he takes one to the house. Demaryius Thomas, a ball pops in the air, falls down his lap, he just catches it. CJ Anderson rips off a huge gain out of nowhere. They need those type of plays that you can't account for on paper, because really the Panthers should dominate this game. That's what they need, and I think it's entirely possible. And you could have a fumble or a kick return. They need those spark things that you can't account for before the game to kick in for them.
Okay, so we need to think about it, Ollie. We need to think what's going to happen. We've got to come up with a prediction, my friend. I mean, do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you go for it.
Okay, I'll go first, because obviously, to be quite honest, your prediction is far more useful. Never go off what I say,
no one's prediction is in anything in football is useful.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. For me, I mean, a lot of people are thinking this could be a blowout, and I think that's a possibility. It also could be a sneaky Broncos win. They could edge it. I mean, we said about the Patriots and the Broncos in, obviously, the AFC Championship game. We said, it's either going to be a big win for the Patriots, or it's going to be the Broncos going to sneak it. And the Broncos sneaked it in the end, and the exact same thing could happen here. Yep. However, I've got far more confidence in this Panthers team to do what the Patriots should have done to the Broncos team than the Patriots team that played them in that AFC Championship game. And therefore, I've got to take the Panthers, and I've got to give them a bit of a cushion as well in this game. I don't think they're just going to nip it. I think they're going to turn out to be too strong, and it's going to be close for a while, and then they're just going to pull away. It's not going to be a Seattle scenario where they just blow them out the water straight away. It's going to be a bit trickier. They're going to have to persevere a little bit more, and Cam Newton's going to be challenged. But I think this is going to come out Panthers 31, Broncos 21.
That's a fair score. I'm going to go Panthers 24, Broncos 16, less high scoring than some have indicated. I just can't really see how Denver's going to move the ball. I think they get a defensive play and they get one of those big chunk plays I mentioned about that comes out of nowhere. But the Panthers just have such a good defense. They can move the ball so effortlessly on the ground. And I think they're just going to churn out yardage and take this one, feeling more comfortable than the final scoreline would indicate. But let's be real here, Tom. The league and everyone wants Peyton Manning to win. That's what everyone wants. And there's, like you said, there's all this stuff could happen. These storylines do play out. Maybe there's a way that they magic something out their arse and they find a way to win this game.
Okay, there you go. We hope you have enjoyed our preview of the Super Bowl. We hope it's been useful for you if you're making bets, or if you're just watching the game, or if you just want to sound clever in front of your friends. Whatever it is, then we hope you've enjoyed it. And if you missed the Super Bowl preview part 1, please go and check that out. It was released on Tuesday, so you'll find it on our feed. And of course, thereadoptional.com, and great other content on there. Whew, Ollie, I feel like we need another tune before we go into listeners' questions.
That's it.
Okay. So, on to listeners' questions. Remember, you can tweet us at ThomasMoore27, at Ollie with an IE, UKEZ. Use the hashtag. That's how we find it, MCFS. Listeners' questions first, then we'll get on to one iTunes review that we've got. So, first of all, Craig Morley, the great Craig Morley, at Gig Lane Craig. He says, which Super Bowl performance will be worse, the Denver offense or Coldplay? Ouch.
I feel like you are not in tune with the rest of the listeners when it comes to Coldplay.
I love them.
Like, that's what I mean, and I like their music as well. I don't think you understand that Fix You is a funeral song. Everyone was saying that was a funeral song, by the way. Everyone agreed with me. And that the fact that he cannot sing live, and they're clearly going to lip sync, and there's going to be all kind of dead spin posts when they're out of time with the lip syncing, or if he does try to sing, it will be tragic.
I just don't get it. I mean, I've been a fan of Coldplay ever since, Parachutes, my friend.
That's fine. They write good songs. They cannot perform live. And they'll lip sync, and it'll be bad.
Okay, fair enough. I ain't subscribing to that, but okay. Next, moving on to Harrison Spence, the great Harrison Spence, at HAA_Spence on Twitter. He says the free agency episode a few years ago when Ollie Connolly revealed the new signings to Thomas Moore on the pod was epic. Do it again. Do it again.
This also leads me to say that listeners should definitely send what they would like to see in the offseason. We don't know what we're going to do offseason-wise yet, because 2 weeks is going to be pretty weird to do in the offseason. But we want to know what you want to hear during the offseason, so stuff like that, let us know.
Yeah, please get in touch. And also, Harrison also says, he's agreeing with you here, Ollie. Fix You is definitely funeral music. Have been to 2 funerals where it was played. I just feel like people can play whatever the hell they want.
That's true.
So I don't think that necessarily makes it a funeral song.
I understand what you're saying, but anyone can play anything, of course they can, but there becomes a point when the same song is played so often it becomes synonymous with that thing. And this was an online poll I saw where it had Hurt by Johnny Cash. I forget what else I had, but it had Fix You by Coldplay. They were definitely in the top 5. Like, it just becomes synonymous with, because it kind of has the depressing part to start with, then the ascension when you're sending the person off. So it's kind of very funerally.
Interesting. Fair enough.
Disagree.
Okay. Craig Morley at Gig Lane Craig, we've already mentioned him. He says, Hall of Fame bribe. Who wants their balls shoving against the wall first, them boys? Ooh, kinky.
I'll let Tom take that one.
Yeah, I'll take that one. I'll take the balls to the wall first, please. So long as there's some kind of wet, warm chamois leather involved. Craig, great stuff. We will be doing more Hall of Fame stuff in the off-season. Ollie and I will decide how we're going to induct people into the Moore and Connolly Hall of Fame. If you are a member already, or you want to get on there, let us know. But if you are a member, go to thereadoptional.com, find the podcast page of the Moore and Connolly Football Show. You will find an avatar with your name right there. Harrison Spence also says, how many college wide receivers lights out at that level but cannot cut it in the NFL, i.e. how many brilliant at college, not good in the NFL?
Well, clearly there's a bunch of reasons why that happens. First of all, the game is changing so much, and for the most part, everyone is running a spread offense now in the college game. And in college, a lot of it can just be you're a physical freak who doesn't have to understand timing and rhythm. Timing and rhythm is not part of the spread offense for the most part. It is about see it, throw it. You don't have NFL caliber quarterbacks who can throw with anticipation, and you got guys all over the place catching thousands of passes and thousands of balls now. And this is the thing in the NFL. Once you get to the league, now you've got to understand rhythm. Now you've got to understand timing. Now you've got to understand all the different passing trees and the passing route that comes with a different style of offenses, whether it be an Urquhart Perkins, whether it be Air Coryell, whether it be the West Coast. All these different terms have all their own verbiage and language. Then you've got to understand with Aaron Rodgers, he's giving me a hand signal. What the heck does that mean? And this is all pre-snap. Then when they go to snap the ball, someone hits you in the chest who's just as big as you, just as athletic as you, and the window is now tiny in a foot rather than being maybe 3 feet, and you got to try and catch the ball whilst another guy the same size as you tries to take your head off. That's why it's so tough. I think it's sneakily maybe the 3rd or 4th toughest position to transfer from one to the other.
Definitely. Harrison also asked, does Navy's Keenan Reynolds have any draft potential? To me, he would appear to be a useful weapon.
Yeah, I mean, he's a quarterback at Navy who's going to come in as a running back for the most part. Now, it's difficult with him because when you have the military service guys, they have to fulfill their military service. So it's difficult to draft those guys. The Patriots drafted Joey Cardone last year to be their long snapper, but the difference between a long snapper and a guy who's going to be sort of a wildcat gimmick quarterback and a running back, it's a huge difference. As I mentioned there with him being a wide receiver, it's not perfecting one skill like long snapping. If he has to split time between the two, which he will have to do, it's going to be tough to draft him. Maybe someone takes a flyer in the 6th or 7th, but he's probably a priority free agent. He's certainly athletic enough to play running back at the next level, so I would certainly give him a chance. And more and more of these teams with the character concerns that are coming up are really looking for these Naval Academy and these service guys. So I think teams will try and get him as an undrafted free agent.
Okay, one final thing from Paddy Cooper at Paddy Cooper. He says, thanks for the shout out on the podcast. Keep up the good work, fellas. Hashtag MCFS. So if you want a shout out, sorry, I burped there because I'm quite hungry. Please get in touch with us. We'll give you a shout out at ThomasMoore27, at Ollie Connolly. Hashtag MCFS, or also content at thereadoptional.com. How about that, Ollie?
Yeah, let's do iTunes reviews.
iTunes review. So we've got one, Ollie. Now, this is a strange one, but just a notice to our American and Australian listeners. If you do give us an iTunes review, we actually have to go and find it. It's not as simple as coming up because it's from a different country. So if you have posted a review, hit us up at ThomasMoore27, at Ollie Conley, or use the contact at thereadoptional.com and let us know you've put a bit of a review down and we'll go and find it. And this one comes from, it comes from America, doesn't it, Ollie?
It does indeed.
Yeah, TW7386, interesting. It says, 5-star, Ollie is the most knowledgeable NFL journalist across the pond, and he certainly is. Title goes without saying, the show is off to a great start and keeps getting better. Well, we've been around for a while, so I'm not sure.
This is why I'm
great
dubious.
Start, but
First of all, the first part is it's a nice compliment, though I do disagree. But I want these to just be authentic. Do you know what I mean? I hope these are genuine, real reviews. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, there you go. Enough said, ladies and gentlemen. That's
and not
it.
just, by the way, the US and Australian listeners, not just those of you from anywhere in the world, let us know. We have to go and log into a different iTunes store to get the reviews. We want to read them out for people. So wherever you listen in the world, if you do a review and you're not from the UK, let us know you sent it. DM Tom, email us, contact at the Read Optional, and then we can go find it for you.
Exactly, yeah, please tell us and we'll look for it. But that is it for Super Bowl preview part 2, Ollie.
You excited, or are you at that? I'm like at the fatigue stage now. It's been 2 weeks. They keep talking about Cam Newton and race, and he just doesn't care. No one should care. They keep talking about Peyton Manning. They drag Archie Manning out every second to defend his HGH allegation, which he blatantly did. I'm just fatigued now.
Yeah, I'm a bit tired of it as well. I mean, I'm looking forward to watching the game, but I think I'll just probably blank out from it slightly now until Sunday.
Yeah, I'm bailing out of any coverage until Sunday now.
Exactly, yeah, more house viewings to do anyway. Oh, the pressure of that is so hard work. Look, if you want to tweet us on Sunday night, please do, at ThomasMoore27. If you want to come and find me, Hooters Nottingham, you know where I'll be. Ollie, who are you watching the game with?
I'm working, so I'll be watching the game at home.
Okay, there you go. I'll be working, so I'll be at home. The lives of some people. We hope you enjoy the Super Bowl. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. It all comes down to that, and the biggest game of the year. We hope you have a great time, whoever you're with. Get your snacks in, get your beers in, get your drinks in, whatever you're doing. Have a great time. Let us know what you're doing. Hit me up with a great picture of what you're doing, and I'll tweet it out if if that's interesting to anyone. But it's always great to hear what people are doing. But for now, for the final time before a game in the 2015-16 season, it's goodbye from Ollie Conley.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. Enjoy, ladies and gentlemen. It's the 4th biggest sporting event in the world in terms of viewership, the Super Bowl. Interesting to see if you can get the other 4. Okay, in the top 5, that is. Good night, everyone.